You guys, welcome back to another video on the channel. Today we're going to do NFL Top 10 Power Rankings as of Week 17. This is not including the Christmas games that played today. Merry Christmas, by the way. Happy Hanukkah to all you folks out there. Happy Kwanzaa to people who celebrate that. Let's get into it. Before we get into it, make sure you like and subscribe. Turn that notification bell on. Comment. Let me see what you want to see next. Share it with a friend. And post week 16 going into week 17, not including Christmas games. Number 10 is the Los Angeles Rams. They have an overall record of 9-6, putting them first in the NFC West. Last 5 games, they are 4-1 with strength of schedule of sixth hardest in the league. Their best wins are Buffalo and Minnesota, who come up later in this video, obviously. Their losses are to the Lions, Cardinals, Bears, Packers, and Eagles. The argument for the Rams being over teams like the Broncos and Chargers are um, their first 4 losses were in the first 5 weeks of the season, and so they were 1-4 to start the season, and they're 8-2 since then. So I'd say that's pretty good right now. Um, Obviously, more recent games matter in terms of power rankings more than non-recent games, and they do have a top 6 strength of schedule. Um, Argument against them is that shaky start to the season. Even though it matters less, it still does matter, and they've been little inconsistent over the course of the season. Number 9 is the Pittsburgh Steelers, coming in 10-5, second in the AFC North. I don't know why it says NFC North. Last 5 are 2-3, having a bit of a skid. Strength of schedule is 26. Best wins. They've beaten some decent teams. They're not the cream of the crop, but they are pretty good. Baltimore at 10-5, Washington 10-5, and Denver and Los Angeles at 9-6. Their losses are Indianapolis, Dallas, Cleveland, Philadelphia, and Baltimore. Their argument for is they have beaten some good teams. The best teams they've played, or the best team they played, the Eagles, they lost to. But they've been very inconsistent at times, in a slump right now. Strength of schedule isn't very good. Similar, this is giving 2020 fall off vibes, losing to the Browns in the playoffs. Obviously can't happen this year, but that's why they're at 9. Number 8 is the Washington Commanders. I couldn't really put them higher, to be honest, because the only good team they've really beat is the Eagles, and that was without Jalen Hurts for most of the game. But they still did beat them, which obviously is good. 10-5, second in the NFC East, and that win gave them a slim chance, but still a chance to win the NFC East. Last 5, they are 3-2. Worst strength of schedule. That win over Philly could be key in the final standings of the season. Losses include Buccaneers, Ravens, Steelers, Eagles, and Cowboys. Most of those teams being still available for the playoffs. Cowboys just own the Commanders. Not to flex or anything, but go Cowboys. Argument for obviously is that big win versus the Eagles. It wasn't pretty, but a win is a win in the NFL. And the argument against them is easiest schedule in the league. Lost to pretty much literally all of the good teams they played, including the Eagles, even though they have beat them once. Let's go on to number 7, Baltimore Ravens, first in the AFC North. Last 5 are 3-2. Strength of schedule is fourth hardest. Wins include Steelers once. They split with Steelers, Buffalo, and Washington. Their losses include the Chiefs, Raiders, Browns, Steelers, and Eagles. The argument for the Ravens is they do have a tough strength of schedule. They've beat some good teams, but the argument against is they've looked kind of inconsistent. Losses where they shouldn't have against the Browns, against the Raiders, but overall they're still a very good team. Number 6 is the Green Bay Packers, 11-4, third NFC North. Last 5 they are 4-1. Strength of schedule is the hardest, and their best wins coming against Houston and the Rams. Their losses are against the Eagles, Lions, and Vikings, which is why I don't think I could have put them any higher. Even though that Eagles one did come very early in the season, I still don't think that the Packers are better than the Eagles. Argument for them though, they do have the toughest strength of schedule, but still, most of these teams that are on here have beaten um an elite team, and they haven't at all. So I just don't think I can put them higher than 6. Number 5, the Philadelphia Eagles. They do have a 12-3 record, first in the NFC East. They can clinch with a win this week. Last 5, they're 4-1. Strength of schedule is 23rd best, so pretty easy in comparison. Best wins are the Packers, Ravens, Steelers, and Washington. Their losses are the Falcons and the Buccaneers. Argument for wins against a handful of good teams. Strength of schedule is a argument against with some. They're not terrible losses, but they still are teams that they should beat, and they also lost to Washington, which isn't on there. Um, yeah, put them over the Packers mainly because they beat them and they're winning their division. Let's get on to number 4, the Minnesota Vikings. I put them over the Packers because one, they have a better record. Two, they've they've won 5 in a row, and three, they've swept the Packers. And so their losses are Detroit and the Rams, which are both high caliber playoff teams. The argument for the Vikings is they beat the Packers and they've won other than those 2 games, mostly no matter what. The argument against weak strength of schedule, 5th worst, and they've looked kind of inconsistent at times, but they've still got the job done. Number 3, the Kansas City Chiefs. They're 14-1, first in the AFC West, 5-0 in their last 5. Strength of schedule 20. Beat best wins are in Baltimore and the Chargers. Losses against Buffalo. You can't really put the team with the best record in the NFL much lower than this, if at all. They don't really have that many convincing wins, and they've lost to the Bills, which are a team higher than them, obviously. But if you're 14-1, you're doing something right, and that gets you top 3 on my list. Number 2 is the Detroit Lions. They're 13-2, first in the NFC North. 4 out of the last 5 games they've won. Top 10 strength of schedule. Swept Green Bay, beat Minnesota, play Minnesota again week 18. Losses are Bucks and the Bills. Argument for, both losses were close games and they're undefeated on the road. Argument against is they lost against the best team that they played. Spoiler alert. Number 1 team is the Bills, 12-3, first in the AFC East. 4-1 in the last 5, average strength of schedule. They have beaten the 2 teams behind them, so um, that means they're better than them. They've lost to the Ravens, they've lost to the Texans, and then lost to the Rams, which are more than likely all going to be in the playoffs. Argument for is they beat the 2 other teams that are in this tier of teams, which is the elite teams, being the Lions and the Chiefs. Argue against is they do have a worse record than both of those teams, but they still beat them. So that's my top 10. Like if you agree, just like if you don't agree, comment something. Um, Make sure you like and subscribe again. Hit the notification bell, share with a friend, leave a comment, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.